Grand Rising, friends. I was on a private road doing a stunt. Okay, so a very private road. So don't worry. I'm not gonna risk anybody's safety by making this video. But what I have to share with you is something that I used to do that was negatively affecting the safety of other people. I'm reluctant to admit that I was ignorant. I was very ignorant, and when I was young, I was convinced by the programming of those around me that by supporting certain things that my uncle was doing was noble, and it was, for the good, right? For the better and good. But when I started doing this, and I did it for quite a few years before I recognized that what I was doing was actually really messed up. I did it for 9 years, and when I finally realized, I'm like, I got to get out of this family business, because this is messed up, I realized I was working for an organized crime syndicate. I wasn't even being paid very well. I was like, if you needed to go to the doctor or something, Uncle, he would go ahead and kick down, and he'd make sure that you were taken care of. If you needed a pair of glasses, or if you needed a pair of boots or something, or you needed a new tool of the trade, right? They'd hook you up, but he didn't give me a place to live. Right? It wasn't great, but it worked. But one day I asked Uncle, I was like, hey dude, and I said, so this money that you pay me with to do this stuff, I said, where's that come from? He says, hey, don't be asking questions. He says, that's above your pay grade, man. I was like, well, all right. So I just need to keep doing this because you guys say so. And it's like, hey, if you stick around for 20 years, though, you do what we tell you. I'll make sure you're taken care of for the rest of your life. I'll take care of your health. I'll take care of, kicking you down, some money and food, and a place to live, and all this stuff. And, we'll make sure you're taken care of. If you've done your work, right? And then I got around the 9-year or 8.5-year mark, and I was now, because I had done such a good job, I was kind of like inner circle, right? And once I still didn't know at the time it was an organized crime syndicate, but I was starting to see things, because I was starting to participate in some actions that was causing some real bloodshed. And it wasn't just people that you could tell were bad folks. It was women, and it was kids. And a lot of my brothers and sisters that were also in this crime syndicate, they've suffered PTSD because of what they've been asked to do by the uncle, right? I've learned how to be heavily meditated, and so I realized that I can only manage myself right now, right? And I have to accept that what I've done was dark. I have to accept that what I was doing wasn't right. And I had to accept that the money that I was accepting and that I was going to be accepting for the rest of my life if I stayed with the group was being stolen from other people to fund what we're doing. And so I got out of the Air Force. I stopped supporting Uncle Sam. I was told that what we're doing was for freedom. But for who? That's what we have to ask. Who was being free? Well, it wasn't me. I was being told what to wear, where to go, what to support, and if I questioned the authority, I was the outsider. I was the troublemaker. I was the one that was looked at as the outsider, right? Basically, I mean, because if you're not just willing to obey, you're the outsider. So, anyway, we have to ask: are the aspects of government that we're supporting right now operating as an organized crime syndicate where it's being funded by force, fraud, and coercion rather than voluntary participation in good ideas? Because there's a lot of things that are happening right now that are not good ideas. There's a lot of people that wouldn't voluntarily be supporting what we're doing in countries all over the world, right? And what happens when we remove our consensual involvement with that is that it dissolves. It works its way into not being capable of operating at the levels in which it's operating now. I mean, I want to have a flat place to drive. I would like to see safe communities, but right now, even the police are protecting the criminals. And people laugh at me when I say that, but it's true. Because if somebody hurt your little girl, right? If somebody beat up your grandma for her purse, the only person that's going to be stopping me from making sure that that person pays for what they've done to your little girl or your grandma is the police. Right? I got a whole bunch of friends who are the same way. You know, it's just that the Blue Lion gang is bigger than my gang. You know, my gang is called the We Tribe. The We means welcoming everyone, right? If you're a cool person, which really, I mean, I've been all over this world. Well, not all over, but I've been a lot of places. I've been around the planet twice, and most everybody I met was cool, right? I mean, like 98%, I would say, at least 98% of people that I meet are cool folks. I wouldn't want to do them any harm, and they haven't done me any harm. The only country to ever use chemical weapons on me was my own. They call it training. It felt miserable. Have you ever had mucus coming out of every orifice of your body simultaneously? Right? Well, that's what happens under some certain chemical attacks. Anyway, I used to be involved in organized crime, but now I do better. My ministry is called Free Will Ministry, and although I believe that you should do you the best way you know how, we must remember that free will is the first law. if we're all equal, then free will is the first law, and the theft of consent is the first violation of the first law. So I hope you guys take this into consideration and start supporting what you believe in rather than what you've been coerced into supporting.